Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Woltersworld, and we're back in London. And today we're going to talk about are the don'ts of using the London Underground. You know, the tube, the subway, the metro. Well, here it's called the tube, all right? And the first don't I have for you is don't skip out on using the tube. It will make your time here in London so much more efficient, so much quicker to get around, so much easier, and so much more of a typical visit of just being in London, because the tube is a part of being in London. And probably the most famous saying you'll hear from the tube is, mind the gap. And when they say mind the gap, that means don't forget to look before you leap, before you go into the train, or when you're getting out of the train, because sometimes there can be quite the gap between the train and the platform, and you can get hurt like really bad, so do be aware of that. So that's like a little safety thing here. But I think before we actually get into the don'ts when you're on the train, we need to talk about some of the don'ts before you actually get into the platforms. And that is one, don't think you have to have a travel card or an Oyster card to take the tube here. You can actually, if you have one of those credit cards that you just tap, you can just tap to go in. If you have a phone that you can pay with your phone, like Google Pay, boom, you can just tap and go right in. So you can use that. So don't think you have to use that little kiosk machine to get a travel card or get an Oyster card or whatever. You can just use what you already have, because I know some people, just the thought of that kiosk thing scares them and keeps them from doing public transportation. You don't have to worry about that, all right? So with that, I have to tell you is don't forget to tap in with your card or with your travel card or your Oyster card or your phone when you go into the tube, but also don't forget to tap when you come out, because you need the card, you need the travel card, or you need your credit card that you paid with to get in. You've got to tap that to open the barriers again, okay? Now, if you're a family and you're coming here, one thing I got to tell you, you can only get one person on that credit card tapping in. So if there's multiple people, you need a credit card for everybody, or then you have to get the travel cards to get people through, okay? But also, if you have the travel cards too, don't lose those, because you need those to get out of the barriers as well, okay? Now, when you're coming up to the barriers to go into the tube, my next don't for you is don't wait to get out your credit card or your travel card or your Oyster card, because people will just run into you. You're not going to make a Londoner more mad than you get up to the barrier and then pull your purse up or your bag up to go look for your card. No. Stand to the side, get it out, and then go to the barriers and go in, all right? And when you go in and you're going to take the escalators, my next don't for you is don't stand on the left. The left is for the people that are in a hurry, that are walking down, or a lot of times running down the escalators to get to their trains. You stand on the right. You have your luggage, you stand on the right, all right? I think that's another thing to mention. Don't bring your luggage on the tube here, because there's not a lot of space on there. Like my cousin who I'm here with, he's 6'1", something like that. His brother's 6'6", and we're joking, thinking about how much fun it's going to see him whacking his head on so many things in the tube, because there's just not space, okay? So be careful with that. So if you're going to be needing to take the tube to the airports or something like that, you want to take it in the middle of the day when there's a lot of people on there, because you don't want to take the tube during rush hour, because it is so packed, especially if you have luggage, all right? So be aware. Also, don't think it's the same price for the tube all the time, because if you travel at peak times, i.e. rush hour, the ticket costs more. They're going to charge you more for that. So be aware of that. Now, my cousin just reminded me, he's like, Mark, don't forget to tell him about the zones. And you have to realize the pay structure is different depending on the zones you're going to be traveling in, from zone 1 to zone 6. And I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be coming here, don't stay out in zone 6. It's too far out. Pay the money and stay close to zones 1 and 2. That's going to be more helpful as a traveler than going out to those farther ones. Also, the farther you go out of the zones, the more it costs you to come in. And the thing is, when you're coming in on the tube, another thing I think is important, when you're coming down the escalator and you're getting to the platforms, you'll notice these big archways that you kind of get onto the platform for. And tourists tend to do this. They have their big group of tourists and they just stop right at that entry arch. But you have to realize there's a whole platform there. You could walk down the platform. Don't just stand at the archway, okay? It's a little annoying for people that are trying to get on the trains. Also, when you're on the train, there are some don'ts there. One, don't eat any stinky food. No one likes that. You don't drink on the tube either. You don't have alcohol on the tube. That's not allowed. Also, don't man-spread. Look, you don't need that much space, pal, all right? We all been in the bathroom, all right? You're fine, okay? So don't do that. Also, don't think the seat next to you is for your luggage. If you have your luggage or you have a bag, you're going to put it in front of you, okay? And my people that wear backpacks, don't wear your backpack when you're in the tube. Take it off and put it in front of you. One, just because you don't whack people, but also that's when pickpockets are there, because I got to tell you this, don't be unaware when you're on the tube, because there are pickpockets, especially at some of the busier stations, busier stops, or peak time when it's really packed. You don't notice that person like accidentally putting their hand in your wallet to take your phone, or in your purse to get your wallet or whatever. So do be aware of that. Now, one of the things that really makes the locals sad here is whenever there's replacement bus services, and I gotta tell you this, don't forget to look for closures for certain lines, because sometimes lines are closed, sometimes they're doing maintenance, sometimes there's an issue. So do be aware of that. But what's cool is they actually announce those things. There's like a board when you go in that will tell you where the issues are, so you know if you're going to be on the Victoria line if there's an incident, or Northern line if there's an incident, whatever. They tell you so you can plan around it. Also, if you're looking for an app that's going to help you, don't forget to download City Mapper, okay? Because on there, it has the tube trains too. So if there is delay, it's already set up. It makes your life so much easier. Because some people think, oh, I'll just use a Google map thing. It'll be fine. I'll just check on my phone. I got to tell you this. Don't expect cell service in the tube. It's not going to happen. I mean, if it's outside, when it's the tube that's above ground, when you're in the farther zones, yeah, you'll get a signal. But if you're in zone 1, you're underground, you're not going to get a signal at all. So don't expect it. So I know you may have an app that tells you things, but don't forget to get a map of the tube so you have it. And the thing is, when you're looking at the map of the tube, don't forget, you're going to see different colored lines for different lines, right? So you'll know what color is associated with what line. And if you want to know what direction it goes, don't forget to look at the end station. That's the direction it's going, okay? So you know where you need to be and which platform to be on. And what's cool is don't be sad if you're that tourist that has to look at the little sign saying, oh, these are the stops going this way and these are the stops going that way, because they have that stuff to help you when you're there, so you know what stops are on that train, on that platform. Use that to your advantage. And honestly, if you're lost or you have any issues, don't be afraid to ask. The people that work for the London Underground are super helpful, and they're there to help you, and they want to help you, and it will make a difference. And also in terms of when you shouldn't expect the tube, don't expect the tube on Sundays, because that's when they do a lot of the maintenance work. So things in the morning on Sundays can be sometimes difficult. Like if you're planning to take the tube out to an airport, or they're planning to take the tube to get to a bus to take you to an airport or to a train station, you might be out of luck. So do be aware. Sundays are a little hit and miss sometimes with the tube. Now, another thing I think I should tell you is when you come and you're on the tube, don't talk to me. Look, I'm not saying me. I'm saying when you're on the tube, you don't talk to people on the tube. You don't talk on the tube. You don't sing on the tube. You don't listen to your music out loud on the tube. The tube is a quiet time. It's a quiet space, okay? So remember that when you're there. You know, remember your manners when on there. Don't forget to give up your seat if you see a pregnant lady or someone with small kids or an elderly couple. You give those up, okay? So please don't forget your manners when you're on the tube. Oh, and another little hint, don't breathe too deeply in the summertime. It can get a little, let's say, ripe on the subway in the summer with all the travelers here, and not everyone visiting Bath, England beforehand, let's say. Now, another don't I have for you is don't freak out if you miss your stop, because sometimes it's too full and you can't get out, right? But it's okay, because if you can get out at the next one, you just go over, take the tube back. They run frequently, like every 2 to 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. There'll be another train coming, so you'll be okay. So don't freak out, because I've seen people really lose it because they missed their stop. Look, it'll come back around. Just get off, go to the other side, you'll be fine. And also, going back to the kind of check your closures things, don't be surprised if you see the locals crying when they say replacement bus service for certain parts of the tube, because it is kind of frustrating when you're taking the tube and there's replacement bus service for a few stops because they are doing maintenance. So do be aware of that. Now, a couple more little things I want to say about don'ts when you're in the tube. One, don't just stand by the doors, because what you'll see is there'll be a big clump of people by all the doors, but then nobody in the middle. Move to the center of the carriage. It'll give you a lot more space. You'll be more comfortable and not every smash right there. And also, if you are the people by the door, don't stand in the way of the people trying to get off, okay? Or the people trying to get on. Just try to move out of the way so they can get on and off. And that's why, for my travelers that come here, I know some places it's like the door is open and it's a mad rush both directions. Don't forget to let the people off of the tube before you go in, okay? So those are just some don'ts for the tube I thought you might want to know before you came to London, because honestly, it is one of those things you have to do when you're here, and I want you to have a great time. So stay safe. If you want to learn more, we've got the don'ts of visiting London, mistakes tourists make when they come here, also some of the grub you should have as well. Check us out on our website at woltersworld.com to find all those fun things, and I'll say bye from here in London.